Recently, Everglow Up dropped a video that was unscripted, talking about some things, and I also want to make an unscripted video talking about some things. Specifically, a topic that I've wanted to talk about in length, but have never been able to carve out the time to talk about it, especially since I get comments like this on my channel all the time. And this isn't unique to my channel. I think some K-tubers go through similar things, especially ones that make videos that are either predicting something or talking about some sort of group's success or something similar to that in a specific moment in time. I have multiple takes that have aged incredibly poorly, like worse than milk. My aespa video, where I discussed how I believed SM was promoting them incorrectly in the United States, and up until that point they'd been a bit silent on the release end of things, turned around a week later and started dropping teasers for their recent comeback. They ended up breaking sales records with like over 2 million copies sold. Their song did pretty well in the charts. I believe it hit #1 on multiple different charts, and they also won music shows, and they're currently on a really successful tour right now in the US and in some other areas. I'll be the first one to admit that that take looks really dumb now, half a year later. To be completely fair, I did work on the script and research for that video for over a month before I posted it, so that was a video that was in the works for a while. At that point, all the big announcements for aespa, like their Tokyo Dome stuff and their tour and their comeback, hadn't even been announced yet. So I had absolutely no idea how bad that video was going to look half a year later when I dropped it. It was just really unfortunate timing by me. A while ago I made a video about 50/50 and their rise to fame, and that video also ended up aging pretty poorly. Mainly because at the time, 50/50's gain in popularity seemed to be pretty authentic, but shortly after they would get into some disputes with their company. Eventually there was information that leaked that there was a $6 million investment into 50/50 as a group, a large sum of that money potentially going to payola. There has been some legal battles since then, way too much to cover in this video, but basically 50/50 have been on hiatus because of issues with their company. After this, a lot of people, specifically a lot of people who were not a fan of 50/50's rise, really hammered in on the members. A lot of people have recently directed a lot of hatred and vitriol towards 50/50 in this recent legal situation, which has been really nasty to see. A lot of people saying that 50/50 members didn't have to go through anything as bad as X-Idol, which I think is a really terrible comparison. And a lot of people use the revealing of an investment into 50/50 and their rise to popularity as proving 50/50 being some sort of industry plant or inauthentic group, which didn't make any sense to me because so many groups out there use payola and money to push their songs to be on top of charts. It's a very common practice, not only in K-pop, but just pop in general. A lot of people who ended up becoming jealous of 50/50 were fans of bigger companies such as HYBE, JYP, SM, or YG that were intimidated by the rise of 50/50. It was hilarious to watch fans of these big three groups really go in on 50/50 for potentially using payola to push songs like Cupid when their favorite groups have been using payola to push their songs to be huge for literally years now. It's been going on forever. 50/50 became a punching bag for a lot of people in the K-pop community, which really rubbed me the wrong way because they'd already been going through so much with their company. Tangent aside, that take again hasn't really aged all that well since I made it. There are also two separate IVE takes that I have had. One in a previous video I made a few months ago talking about one of their only weaknesses as a group in my opinion being, at the time, their pretty lackluster stage presence, which I think is a pretty subjective thing. I think stage presence is still somewhat of a subjective thing. I think it's less subjective than, for example, musical taste. But at the time, my opinions were that IVE as a collective unit just weren't the best at performing on stage, whether that is because they had to rely on lip syncing or their company pushed them to lip sync, or the fact that they just really weren't that amazing performers outside of Yoojin, obviously, because Yoojin is an amazing performer. I've always been a fan of hers. And I think a lot of people can agree that recently during the IM era, they have really stepped up a lot in their collective stage presence as a group. A lot of the members, including Wonyoung and Ray, have gotten a lot better with their stage presence, specifically Wonyoung, who took a really big leap in my opinion. They also sung live a lot during their stages during the IM era, which was a lot different compared to some of their previous eras. I know a lot of like dives and IVE defenders would always say, oh, well, they're singing live during like Music Bank and stuff, which was just like never true. They used a lot of lip syncing or pre-recorded vocals in their performances. Again, it was never something I really disliked the group specifically for, because plenty of other groups do it. It was just something that I didn't like because it does impact slightly how I view stage presence, because when you're lip syncing an entire song, it's like you're not really performing to me. Now, I'll say that the video has aged poorly because I do think that they are much better as a group now with stage presence, and I do not think that is a weakness of theirs specifically anymore. I really did love the improvement and genuine live vocals that they displayed during the IM era. The other IVE take I had was that I kind of worried about IVE's ability to create a full-length album as a group, because at that point, they had only released single albums. I believe I had this take in my video where I talk about how the fact that full-length albums are disappearing in K-pop, which is a take that I still think is pretty valid, because we've seen a lot of groups just drop 5 to 6 song-long mini albums that aren't even really albums, they're just random songs put together on a project and they just drop it. I still think that video in its concept is a good take, but I do think that the take that IVE couldn't really make a full-length album, whether it be because Starship didn't want to and treated them similar to their previous girl group Sistar, or some completely other reason. I didn't really know if we were going to see a full-length album from IVE in the near future, but that couldn't be more far from the truth. Obviously, they dropped the IM album, more specifically the album called IVE, but you know, it's the one with IM on it. And that is one of my favorite albums of the entire year. It's like top 3 for me. I love Hypnosis, I love Blue Blood, I love IM, I even like Kitsch more than when it dropped. I really do like most of the B-sides on there. Like, collectively as an album, its deep cuts are good. It's just a well put together album, and I was really surprised with IVE's ability to do that, because they hadn't dropped a single B-side that I liked yet, and they were living off of single albums their entire career thus far. Now, was it preemptive of me to say that I worried about IVE making an album only like a year and a half into their career? Sure, maybe it was a little too soon for me to start worrying about those kind of things, but I do think that some of my points I made about it were valid, but they did end up proving me wrong, and I made an entire video about that. I made a video literally saying that IVE proved me wrong, and I had a lot of IVE fans in the comments of that video who were like, of course they did, they're IVE kind of behavior. So those were 4 separate instances in which I think that I had a pretty bad take in hindsight, right? Like, they aged quite poorly. I would argue that all of those takes at the time of me making them were actually decent takes. They just ended up aging poorly in the future. That's something I can't control. I can't predict the future. And you would figure that viewers watching those videos would see the time it was uploaded, realize the events since then, and probably be like, yeah, this is a pretty bad take, but I bet that person also knows that it's a bad take. But unfortunately, I get a lot of viewers on my videos now that find these videos 5-6 months after they come out and comment things like, oh, you probably want to delete this video now because it's embarrassing. And I think that mindset is just so needlessly toxic and tiring. Why would I be embarrassed about a video that I made 3, 4, 5, even 6 months ago? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like I said earlier, I can't predict the future, so why would I think making that aespa video, or making that 50/50 video, or that IVE video, that things were going to improve in those situations? And it's funny because I've actually responded to a few of these commenters, and I've been like, no, I'm not embarrassed by these videos. I'm going to leave them up because it's a past video I made. And I think that they're always taken aback by my response. I'm not going to scrub my past videos just because they aged poorly or I have a bad take in them. Like, I find that to be very childish and immature. The only videos that I take down or I unlist are videos that I personally don't like. There are plenty of Dreamcatcher videos or other essay videos that I have eventually taken down because I don't like them. They're not a good reflection of my content now, or I don't think they have good editing, or I think the audio is a bit weird. For example, recently I got a comment, someone was like, oh, you took down your IU Palette album review, like I really like that video, why'd you take it down? And my answer is pretty simple. I didn't like the video. I thought it was structured pretty poorly. I think my commentary felt super robotic and monotone, and I don't think I did that album justice when talking about it. I am thinking of maybe making a video about it in the future and kind of redoing it, putting more time and effort into it, but that's the reason I took it down. I just didn't like it. I'm never going to take a video down simply because it was a bad take now, because when I uploaded it, I didn't think it was a bad take then. I'm not a perfect human who can make perfect observations and perfect guesses. By taking all of my flaws down, all of my bad videos, I would be trying to present myself as someone that I am not, and I feel it could be very dishonest for me to take those videos down. So whenever someone comments and is like, this is a really bad take, or wow, this is really embarrassing for you, you should take this video down, I always just laugh at those comments to myself, because yeah, I know those are bad takes, but I'm not going to take it down because you want me to. Because you want to get some odd moral victory, some one-up on me, because I had a bad take 5 months ago. Sure, I had a bad take about 50-50 5 months ago, and I was also 20 years old 5 months ago, and now I'm 21, right? Things change. I know this video is very short. It wasn't planned to come out this month. I didn't have this on my docket to come out in September. It's also not really my normal essay content, but I wanted to talk about it because I do get a lot of comments on my videos like this, and I wanted to clarify my feelings about those comments. And not even just my videos, but the way that people treat other YouTubers' videos as well. If they simply don't agree with the video, they always tend to try to one-up the creator of the video, leave hateful comments or disrespectful comments simply because they don't agree with their opinion. And to be honest, it's just very childish. It's super immature and ignorant. To be frank, I've had bad takes in the past, and I will continue to have bad takes in the future because I'm human. I'm not perfect. I've also had very good takes on this channel, and I've had some pretty normal, obvious takes. Not every K-tuber who makes essay content on K-pop YouTube is perfect. We all make mistakes, whether it be about information or editing, etc. So please, before you see some video that you disagree with or that may be aged poorly, don't leave a comment and say, wow, this video is so embarrassing, wow, this video aged badly, because all you're doing is just stating the obvious. And stating the obvious doesn't make you smart. Hopefully you guys have a good day. Thank you guys for watching till the end. I promise I'll get the August D video out eventually. I've just had so much going on with my personal life right now. I've had so many important school related things that have gone on in the last month, and I've been absolutely swamped in homework, absolutely swamped in internship stuff. Like, it's just been a very busy month for Taeju, so I apologize. Stay tuned for that video. It will be out very soon, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day.